Hey everyone, this is David Razavi, and for this video I made a synthesizer-based composition. I wanted to make something that would fit a dystopian sci-fi type of story, and was inspired by some classic synth scores like you'd hear in the 80s. After I play through the piece, I'll show some of the sounds I used, and if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and hit the bell for notifications. Now here's my new synth track that I named The Fall. The majority of this piece is made with a synth plugin from Huynh called Zebra 2, along with ATO's Dark Prophecy and Heaviosity's Ascend Piano. Lately I've been experimenting more with hybrid scores, and Zebra sounds great on its own, but also mixes well with orchestral instruments and rock guitars. So I have a short fade-in intro made up of this ethereal synth pad with an arpeggiating lead underneath. And there's a reverse stinger from Dark Prophecy that leads into the next section. I kept that arpeggiating Bermuda Triangle patch going and chose a pad called Outer Temple for an ascending line, and it gives a slight wobbling feeling as the harmonics move around. There's also another pad holding a G, which creates and releases some tension as the melodic line progresses. For the low end, I used a Series 3 patch, and the delay creates a cool ping-pong effect panning between the left and right speakers. And to reinforce the rhythm of the arpeggiating instruments, I added a hi-hat playing 16th notes. For a more complex sound, I stacked some patches from Dark Prophecy. It's a synth pad with a percussive hit and a choir cluster just to make it more interesting. Leading into the next section is this group of layered synths as a transition. And here's the theme for this piece played on the piano. It adds to the dystopian, not so optimistic feeling I was going for. Underneath that are a couple of tracks playing the bass notes of the chords. There's also this bass drum part that was originally supposed to represent a heartbeat. Then I played around with the rhythm and added a delay, and I liked how that ended up. In this next section, I'm bringing back the Series 3 bass, following that 1-7-5-1 progression, and added this .com patch, which has that computery sci-fi sound. The drum part is from the Dark Side sample library, playing this rhythm on floor tom. And later on I added in a snare as well. The prominent part here is the horn part playing chords, and I wanted to put in a nod to Vangelis, and this appropriately named Vangelic Horns patch nails that Chariots of Fire sound. Now here, the piano melody comes back in this lead track. And this repeating bass keeps the energy moving forward along with the hi-hats. After this next transition, there's a build-up. That driving bass part continues playing G, A, B flat, D. And I have the Bermuda Triangle playing again, but adjusted the expression controller so it has a more muted, smooth sound than earlier in the track. And the outer tempo pad is descending to contrast the ascending arpeggio. In Dark Prophecy, I chose this cursed patch for a brooding low drone. There's also this breathy synth along with it to mix the different textures. For the percussion in this part, there's a steady quarter note bass drum, and that modified heartbeat thing I made earlier returns here. I also added in some of that layered choir type sound for dissonance. For this last part, I brought back that C section with more lively drums to make it feel like the climax of the piece and maybe a bit more optimistic. Having all of these different sounds bouncing around makes it more complex sounding. The piano melody is back too, but this time I doubled the piano track to help it stand out more in the mix. And I added a simple harmony for the melody and a lower octave for the bass notes. In the outro, more of the synths drop out, so it's just the piano, horns, drum hits, and a low drone. And I also have this arpeggiated Argo Blitz patch continuing throughout, which I previously only used during transitions. As the phrase ends, there's the reversed sound as the final build-up, followed by 3 drum hits as the synth pads quickly fade out. So that's one of the few synth-based compositions that I've made. I'm gonna keep experimenting with this style. This really got me out of my comfort zone since I had to think of different ways to use and blend these inorganic sounds, and I had to learn to make changes to the presets to better fit what I needed them to do. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and also if there's any other styles like you'd like to see me try out. Well, that's all I have for now, and I'll see you next time.